My girlfriend insisted I buy her a luxury bag, snapping, "If you really loved me, you would." When I refused, she laughed. "I'll just find someone who can." Months later, she texted me begging for another chance. I smiled and replied, "Sorry, I only date people who love me, not my wallet." Her furious reply came seconds later, but I was already blocked. I met Laura during our final year at the University of California, Berkeley. She was an art history major with a passion for Renaissance art, and I was an engineering student focused on sustainable design. Our paths crossed during an elective course on the intersection of art and technology. Laura's insights into the historical significance of art pieces fascinated me, while she found my technical perspective intriguing. We quickly bonded over late-night study sessions at Doe Memorial Library and weekend visits to the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. After graduation, we decided to move in together, renting a modest apartment in San Francisco's Mission District. I secured a position at a tech startup in Silicon Valley, and Laura landed a role as an assistant curator at a prestigious art gallery downtown. Our combined incomes allowed us to live comfortably but without much room for extravagance. Despite this, we enjoyed exploring the city's vibrant culture, indulging in occasional dinners at local eateries, and taking weekend trips to Napa Valley. Over time, I noticed Laura's growing fascination with luxury items. She would often browse high-end fashion magazines, admiring designer handbags and shoes. Her social media feeds became filled with influencers showcasing lavish lifestyles, and she began expressing a desire to own similar items. I appreciated her tastes but remained cautious about our spending, especially given our student loans and the high cost of living in San Francisco. One evening, after a particularly grueling day at work, I returned home to find Laura excitedly scrolling through her phone. She showed me a photo of the latest Chanel handbag, its sleek black leather and iconic logo gleaming on the screen. "Isn't it beautiful?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with desire. I glanced at the price tag and felt a knot form in my stomach. The bag cost nearly as much as our monthly rent. "It is," I admitted, "but it's also incredibly expensive." Her expression shifted from excitement to frustration. "If you really loved me, you'd buy it for me," she said, her tone sharp. I was taken aback. "Laura, it's not about love. It's about being responsible with our finances. We have other priorities right now." She scoffed, crossing her arms. "Maybe I should find someone who can afford to give me what I deserve." The room fell silent. Her words stung, leaving a lingering ache in my chest. I couldn't believe she would equate my love with material possessions. In the following weeks, the tension between us grew. Laura became distant, often spending evenings out with friends or staying late at the gallery. Our conversations became superficial, and the warmth that once defined our relationship faded. I tried to bridge the gap, suggesting we revisit the activities we once enjoyed together, but she showed little interest. One day, I came home to find a note on the kitchen table. Laura had moved out, leaving behind only a few of her belongings and a void in my heart. She didn't provide an explanation, but deep down, I knew her desire for a more lavish lifestyle had driven a wedge between us. Months passed, and I focused on my career, finding solace in the stability it provided. I occasionally heard about Laura through mutual friends, learning that she had started dating someone new, a wealthy entrepreneur known for his extravagant spending. It stung, but I reminded myself that we had different values and priorities. One rainy afternoon, as I sipped coffee at a local cafe, my phone buzzed with a text message from an unfamiliar number. "Hey, it's Laura. I've been thinking about you. Can we talk?" A mix of emotions surged within me, surprise, curiosity, and a hint of apprehension. After a moment's hesitation, I replied, "Sure." We agreed to meet at a quiet park near our old apartment. As I approached the familiar bench where we once shared countless conversations, I saw Laura sitting there, clutching a small umbrella. She looked up as I approached, her eyes reflecting a mix of regret and hope. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi," I replied, taking a seat beside her. For a moment neither of us spoke, the sound of raindrops filling the silence. "I made a mistake," she finally admitted. "I thought I wanted a different life, but I realized that what we had was special." I listened, allowing her to express her feelings. "Can we give us another chance?" she asked, her voice tinged with vulnerability. I took a deep breath, choosing my words carefully. "Laura, I cared about you deeply, but I need someone who loves me for who I am, not for what I can provide financially." Her eyes welled up with tears. "I understand. I'm so sorry." I offered a small, sad smile. "I hope you find what you're looking for." With that, I stood up and walked away, feeling a sense of closure and clarity. As I left the park, my phone buzzed again, a furious message from Laura, but I didn't read it. I blocked her number, ready to move forward and embrace a future aligned with my values. A week after I blocked Laura, things started getting weird. At first, it was small stuff. I noticed someone had tried to log into my work email. I used two-factor authentication, so it failed, but still, it gave me a bad feeling. Then a couple of my coworkers mentioned someone had messaged them on LinkedIn asking about me. They brushed it off, but when I checked, the messages were odd. Too personal. Almost like the sender was trying to dig into my life. I ignored it for a while, telling myself I was being paranoid. But then, one morning, my manager pulled me into his office. He looked uncomfortable. "Hey, I don't want to make this into a big deal, but did you recently end a relationship or something?" I blinked. "Yeah." "Why?" He sighed. "We got an anonymous complaint email. It accused you of misusing company funds. Said you were buying personal stuff with company credit." I froze. I didn't even have a company credit card. "They didn't leave a name," he added. "But the email had screenshots. Fake ones, obviously. We double-checked. Still, legal has to log it." I felt sick. I had no doubt who it was from. That night, I sat in my apartment, scrolling through old photos, trying to figure out what had gone so wrong. Laura wasn't just hurt. She was angry. And she was spiraling. I thought blocking her was the end, but she'd taken it as a challenge. A few days later, I noticed a new Instagram account following my sister. Then my cousin. It was using a fake name, but the profile picture was Laura from 2 years ago, taken on one of our hikes. One we hadn't even posted anywhere. That creeped me out. I messaged my cousin and told her to block the account. Then I made my profile private and started locking down everything, emails, socials, even my online shopping accounts. I had this constant tight feeling in my chest, like I was always being watched. Then one night I got a call from my mom. Her voice was shaky. "Honey, did you send me a message about needing a loan?" I blinked. "No." "Why?" "Someone texted me using a number that wasn't yours. Said it was you, that your phone was broken and you needed $5,000 fast. They even used your old nickname." That's when I realized Laura had been digging not just into my social circle, but my family too. She was pretending to be me. I had no idea how far she was willing to go. I sat on my bed that night, staring at the wall, thinking about how someone I loved so much had become this unrecognizable person. It wasn't about the bag anymore. This was something darker. I decided I had to talk to someone. Not friends. Not family. A lawyer. The lawyer I met was a calm, older guy named Alan who had seen his share of psycho exes and stalking cases. He listened to everything, took notes, and finally looked at me and said, "She's building a case. Not for court. For chaos. She wants to ruin your life because you embarrassed her." He was right. We filed for a restraining order. It wasn't easy. I had to show evidence, screenshots, messages, fake profiles. Alan guided me through it all. Meanwhile, Laura kept trying. Fake job applications in my name, online shopping using my email, even creating an OnlyFans page pretending to be me, just to humiliate me. It worked. I was humiliated. And tired. And angry. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. One afternoon, I got a call from a guy named Marcus. Said he was Laura's new boyfriend. I almost hung up, but something in his voice made me pause. "Listen," he said. "You don't know me, and I don't care about the drama between you two. But she's not okay. She's obsessed with you. She talks about you all the time. She keeps all these pictures, screenshots, even the stupidest text messages. She's told her friends you're stalking her." I didn't know what to say. "She told me you cheated," Marcus added. "But she said the same about her ex before you. And the one before that. It's a pattern. I think she needs help, man." That was the first time I felt fear, not just annoyance or anger, but actual fear. Because now it wasn't just me seeing the red flags. Someone else was living in it. I don't know why Marcus called me. Maybe he just needed to feel like he wasn't going crazy. Maybe he wanted to warn me. Maybe he wanted out and didn't know how. But what he said next hit me harder than anything else. "She told me last night she was going to make you pay. Said you owe her your life. She was drunk, maybe high, I don't know. But she meant it. I'm out. I packed my stuff this morning. I'm done. But watch your back." Now I can't sleep right. Every time I hear a knock at the door, my heart jumps. I changed my locks. Got a security camera. Even asked my job if I could work remotely for a while. I don't want to end this story yet because it isn't over. She hasn't stopped. But neither have I. About 3 weeks after Marcus called me, I started getting packages at my door. Weird, random things. First, it was a bundle of hair ties, nothing fancy, just cheap rubber ones. Then a small box filled with torn-up magazine pages, mostly designer ads with bags and perfume. Next came an envelope with nothing in it but a printed screenshot of a 5-year-old photo of me and Laura, back when we were happy. No return address. No message. I was already on edge, so I started documenting everything, every delivery, every detail. My lawyer told me to keep records and report each one to the police. I did. They were polite, but I could tell they thought it was just some crazy drama. Nothing illegal yet, just creepy. Then one morning my neighbor knocked on my door. Older woman, lives across the hall. Sweet lady. She looked nervous. "Hey, sorry to bother you," she said. "But I thought you should know, there was someone standing outside your door late last night. I thought it was you at first, but then I realized, too short, and definitely not a man." She described the figure, hoodie, stood there for a while, didn't knock, just lingered. That same night, I checked my security camera footage. She wasn't lying. It was blurry dark, but the figure was unmistakable. The way she stood. The way she tilted her head. I couldn't see her face, but I knew. It was Laura. I called the police again. They said unless she broke in or physically harmed me, there wasn't much they could do. The restraining order was in process, but it hadn't been granted yet. I felt powerless. Then one day I got a call from a hiring manager at a different company. I hadn't applied there, but they said they wanted to follow up on the interview. I told them they had the wrong person. They read the resume back to me. It was my name. My background. But with subtle changes. Jobs I never worked. Skills I didn't have. And a different phone number. An email address I didn't recognize. Someone was applying to jobs using a fake version of me. The company forwarded me the resume. I sent it to my lawyer. The digital forensics guy he hired found out the IP address matched one of the local libraries Laura used to frequent. Same Wi-Fi network. She was trying to sabotage my career, maybe even get hired somewhere in my name just to mess with me further. To what end? Who knows? Maybe to stage a scandal. Maybe just because she could. And still, it didn't stop. I started getting letters from a credit collection agency. Turns out someone had opened 2 store credit cards in my name, one at Nordstrom, one at Bloomingdale's. They racked up about $2,300 combined, mostly on perfume, makeup, and designer scarves. The addresses used for delivery were P.O. boxes in nearby towns. Police started to take it more seriously at that point, but they said even then, proving it was Laura might be difficult unless they could catch her physically picking something up. But then the real twist hit. I got a message on LinkedIn from a woman named Clara. She said she found me through a mutual friend. At first I thought it was just a recruiter. Then I read her message again. It said, "Hi. I hope this isn't too weird, but I was dating a woman named Laura. I recently ended it. I think she's been talking about you a lot. And I'm starting to feel like she's been impersonating me too. Can we talk?" Clara was real. I looked her up. She worked in marketing in the city, had a legitimate profile, no red flags. We met at a coffee shop downtown, in a crowded area, in public. I brought copies of some of the packages and screenshots. She brought her own stories. Turns out, Laura hadn't just spiraled. She had created alternate lives. She had told Clara about an abusive ex, me, and how I had ruined her life. Clara, being kind-hearted, tried to support her. She didn't realize Laura was tracking me, building a twisted fantasy, trying to turn everyone around her against me while making herself look like a survivor. Clara said she only figured it out when Laura started asking weird questions about her finances, her work login, even her email passwords. When Clara refused to give them, Laura turned cold, and Clara got scared. That's when she reached out. The puzzle was coming together, but it wasn't over. Clara said something else I wasn't ready for. She kept talking about a plan. Something about making you disappear digitally. Like erasing you. She said he'll be nothing but a name no one believes. That one sentence kept me up for days. I realized Laura didn't just want to punish me. She wanted to erase me. Online. Professionally. Socially. So I started backing up everything. I created a hard drive with all my documents, photos, ID scans, certificates, even emails. I got a second phone. I started printing physical copies of things people normally leave digital. Because I had no idea what she was going to do next. But I knew she wasn't finished. A month passed. I had barely slept. I was juggling my job, legal filings, documenting everything that kept happening. Clara and I stayed in touch. She even came to a couple of meetings with my lawyer to share her side. It helped build the case, but it still wasn't enough for a full takedown. Until one night, it all came crashing down, loud, public, ugly. It was a Friday. My friend Caleb from work was celebrating his promotion with a group dinner at a rooftop bar in downtown San Francisco. I almost didn't go, but I needed to feel normal again. Human. We were mid-dinner, laughing about something stupid when I heard my name from across the terrace. I froze. It was Laura. She looked different, thinner, eyes wilder, makeup smeared like she hadn't slept in days. She walked up like she belonged there, like we were still something. And in front of everyone, she smiled and said, "There you are." I stood up, instantly tense. "You're not supposed to be here." She laughed, loud and off-key. "Why? Because of that fake restraining order? You really think anyone believes you?" Everyone at the table went silent. Caleb stood up beside me, protective. Some people pulled out their phones. Laura turned to the group. "He's lying. He's been lying to all of you. He cheated on me. Used me. Then played the victim. I gave up everything for him." I felt the heat rise in my chest. "Laura, you need to stop." "No. You don't get to silence me. I loved you. I was loyal. And you treated me like garbage because I asked for one thing, a bag. A small thing to show I mattered." She was shouting now. People were watching. The staff was approaching. I felt exposed, furious, but mostly just tired. "You wanted a lifestyle, not a relationship," I said, my voice low. "You didn't love me. You loved what I could do for you." Tears welled in her eyes. Real ones. But there was something else, rage under the surface. "You ruined me," she hissed. "And I'm going to make sure no one ever trusts you again." That's when Clara stepped forward. She had shown up to say hi, a coincidence so surreal it felt like a movie. She had just arrived, standing off to the side. But now she stepped into the circle, right between me and Laura. "You've done enough," Clara said calmly but firmly. "You lied to me. You tried to make me think he was a monster. You told me he hit you. He never laid a finger on you." Laura's eyes darted. "You don't know what he's like behind closed doors." "I do," Clara said. "Because you said the same thing about your last ex. And the one before him. And then you used my email to sign up for credit cards in his name." Gasps from the people around us. Even the bartender was frozen, listening. Laura looked around, realizing everyone was watching. That her performance wasn't landing. She took a step back, then forward again, like she didn't know where to go. Like she was losing control. "He deserves to pay," she whispered. Clara held her phone up. "I've been recording this whole thing." Laura's face dropped. Her mouth opened, but no words came out. Security came up then, gently taking her by the arms. She didn't fight. She just looked at me, her face twisted with hurt and fury. "They'll see," she muttered as they walked her out. "They'll all see the truth one day." And then she was gone. The rooftop was dead silent for a moment, then the noise started up again like someone unpaused the scene. People were murmuring. Caleb turned to me and put a hand on my shoulder. "You okay, man?" I wasn't. Not really. But I nodded. The police took statements. Clara handed over the video. It fast-tracked the restraining order. Laura disappeared from my life after that, at least in the real, physical world. I still caught glimpses online. New burner accounts. Occasional weird messages. But the storm had passed. The emotional fallout, though, took longer. I felt shame. For staying so long in that relationship. For ignoring the signs. For not believing the part of myself that said, "This doesn't feel right." But I also felt relief. The kind you don't want to admit to. Like coming up for air after pretending you weren't drowning. I saw a therapist for a while. My family, once confused and cautious, became protective and understanding. My boss gave me time off to deal with everything. Clara and I drifted into a strange friendship, bonded by something awful but grateful to have found each other in it. Sometimes I wonder if Laura believed her own lies. If she actually thought I was the villain. Or if she was just trying to rewrite the story until it fit the world she wanted. I don't have those answers. I probably never will. But here's what I do know, love isn't supposed to feel like a threat. It's not supposed to keep you up at night wondering what you did wrong just because you said no. I said no, and it nearly cost me everything. Now I say no without guilt. And I date people who love me, not my wallet, not my resume, not what I can give them. Just me. I'm not healed, but I'm healing. And for the first time in a long time, that feels like enough.